Hey, what's up guys, it's Kerry from Phoenix and Bow, and thanks for joining me. Welcome to my first shave in many months. First up, apologies for being remiss in keeping up on my YouTube video efforts. Just life's busy, right? It's just got in the way of doing videos as I wanted to. I will share with you what we've been up to throughout this video, and I think by the time we get to the end of the shave, you'll probably have a better feeling as to why I haven't been around for some time. I think it's 5 months, which is ridiculous. And this year just seems to be just absolutely flying by. But anyway, enough waffle. Today's shave is a special one because I'm going to be using our right-hand giant soap. Now this is a limited edition for summer, I suppose early autumn, late summer, early autumn here in the UK. And this is a homage to the Fabergé Brut scent. We're very happy with it. It's really nice. If you're a fan of Brut, then this is definitely one for you. So going with soap will be the lotion that we've also done for this release. And it will be followed up by a bit of Brut itself. We didn't do a splash because this is relatively inexpensive to buy, and we just thought, well, it'd be nice to pair the soap and the lotion with the Brut splash itself, just to make a really nice kind of three-way shave. Just a little bit about the design. Sarah's done her usual excellent work. It's inspired by the giant Prometheus. So it's kind of taken from that, and we've just adopted the colours that Fabergé used for Brut and just transferred them over. A little bit different, a little bit abstract, but that tends to be us anyhow. So I hope you like the design. If you've got the soap, let us know what you think, and you're always very welcome to leave a review or get in touch via email or social media. Any of the above are good. Equipment-wise, I'm going to be using Phoenix and Bow synthetic brush made by the very talented Mervyn Cadman. Pearlescent white handle, 26mm knot, I think, from memory. Really soft, lovely, really precise brush. In terms of razor, something that I haven't used for a long time. I've got a few days growth here, just kind of clipped it off my top lip, but around the jawline and under here is sort of 4 days growth, so quite bristly. I'm going to use my gem micromatic here, so hopefully that should chop through these whiskers quite efficiently. Lurking in the background on standby, just in case, because I'm clumsy. And even after all of these years, I still cut myself. I've got my alum block ready to go. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my technique. In recent months, I've kind of been sticking to a one-part shave because, this is a shoddy excuse, but because I'm short on time and I'm not finding the time for, my indulgent 3-part shaves, which is pretty sad. It's a pretty sad indictment. Kind of, we're so busy as a family. We've just come out the other side of summer holidays here in the UK, and work and everything else, the children, training, business, so on and so forth. It just eats up my time, and I found myself kind of slipping into just one-part shaves, which I quite enjoyed because I could kind of got it down to just really a few minutes. But that isn't really why I got into this hobby of ours for. It's to slow down, and we're all advocates, aren't we, of slowing down. Certainly when it comes to taking care of your face and your skin and having a shave and getting rid of our beards, however frequently you shave. And I kind of fell away from that. So it's a bit frustrating. Every now and then I'd find time and I'd have 2, 3, sometimes 4-part shave. But they're quite rare nowadays. But anyhow, today I'm going to have a 3-part shave and treat myself. Why not? So that's just a quick talk through. And you can see down here my little shave den. I would move the camera and kind of show you around it a little bit. It would take obviously 5 seconds, but I've lost my camera mount, so I've had to adapt improvise and overcome with what I've got here. So I'm not going to do that because it'd be really shoddy, shaky footage. But we recently went to Iceland for our summer holiday. And there's a small, tiny town called Vik, right in the centre south, which has one of those magnificent black sand beaches. And I nicked this, which I suppose is a bit bad of me, because we shouldn't do that. We should only leave footprints and take memories, is an old saying I'm fond of. But anyway, this came off the Vik beach, and I used that on my shave down just to rest my razors on, or a razor. I kind of like to showpiece. Anyway, I like that. Right, okay. An interesting comment that I saw recently on one of the shaving forums was the necessity or the requirement of bloom of soap. Again, to draw out that cliche, your mileage may vary. How I like to shave might not be how you like to shave, and so on and so forth. And I think the same can be said for blooming a soap. Some people say, well, if you're blooming a soap, then you shouldn't really be using that soap because it's substandard, perhaps. Some just don't think it's necessary. Personally, I like to bloom my soaps because, again, coming back to the time thing, I'm a bit of a lazy loader, so I only like to load my brush for about 10 seconds, really, not a great deal longer. I also like to bloom the soap because it helps me to enjoy. So I've been blooming this right-handed giant just for about 30 seconds or so. It helps me to enjoy the scent. So that's the bloom water. And just by doing that, it's soaking into my skin. I suppose you could consider it to be like a bit of a pre-shave. And the scent is coming out. But that's my personal preference. I don't always bloom, but when I do, that's why. There's nothing too hard or fast in this hobby of ours. It's nothing prescriptive. You find your own way, don't you? And I think that's the beauty of this. There's so many different ways. There's so much nuance to what we do. Do you know what? I'm going to add to my pre-shave, actually, because I'm very bristly. I'm going to use some of our utility oil here. This is the Wilderness scent. If I'm using a blade, which is on its way out, it's only got a couple of shades left in it, or if I'm particularly kind of beardy as I am now, quite often I'll do this as well, just as a little extra layer of comfort. And luxury. That's pretty much all gone now. I love these little bottles. You've got these little glass pipettes. Really versatile. Pretty little design as well. What I will say about the utility oil is once you've rubbed it into your face, obviously your hands are a little bit oily. So take care to get that off. Right, as always, I am nice and clean. My skin's hydrated. I've had a shower. Went out this morning with a friend just for a quick blast on my mountain bike. Went out cycling with him. So I got home and freshened up, gorged on food, and then freshened up. So that was about a 10-second load, and you can see what it's doing. Lovely sheen to it. I don't really notice it so much because when I'm filming, I have a big sort of daylight lamp just over here that you can't see. What that does is it helps me. You can see the kind of sheen to the lather, which is great to see. I've got lather on the handle. It's slippery. I have to clean it up. A good tip that I saw, I think Nick Shaves do, was he uses his alum block and he rubs his fingers on it. And straight away there's loads of grip there. So that's a top tip. Okay, here we go. Pass number 1. Brand new gem blade. I'm always slightly scared of these. They're very aggressive. And because I've got baby soft skin still at 41, I know it doesn't look it. It looks wrinkly and ancient. But when it comes to shave resilience, baby soft. First pass with a gem. first try with a first use rather of a gem is always a bit nervy. It's been ages since I've used the micromatic. Great design. So how are you doing? Thank you for joining me, as always. It's good to see you. Obviously I can't see you, but I can see your comments, and I'm always very grateful for them. How's your summer been? Holidays, working, children, travels, busyness generally. Ours has been absolutely rammed. 6 weeks of school holidays to contend with our 8-year-old and almost 5-year-old. I had a little bit of holiday in there, but really Sarah bore the brunt of having to keep the children occupied. I'm almost 42 in November, and I've got this little patch of skin here. You can probably see it just ever so slightly sore. I've got these little bumps. I wouldn't say they're spots, but it's just a patch on my skin, which for the last number of months has been kind of a bit dry, and I've had these little bumps. I don't know what they are. It's annoying. It's frustrating because I drink lots and lots of water. I stay really hydrated. My diet is on the whole, it's pretty good. I don't really gorge on crap and loads of saturated processed food, sugars. Kind of steer clear of that stuff 9 times out of 10. So my diet, I would say, is pretty good. Loads of water. I like a beer, but nothing excessive. I don't smoke. I'm 41. I've got the skin of a bloody teenager. Little nick there. So since January of this year, Sarah and I have been saving up for our family holiday. Let me just rinse this off quickly. For our family holiday to Iceland. Iceland has been somewhere that's been on our list for years and years. And we kind of, with my wife turning 40 this year, I just thought, what, sod it, we're gonna go. And I booked the flights, committed back in January, booked the flights then, and that was all we'd paid for. And over the course of the rest of the year, we slowly kind of got things in place, booked, and then saved up, spending money, and went. We went in August, and it was quite something. We had a week out there. I don't know if you've been or not, but that was our first time there, and we love the outdoors. We love nature. We love walking and hiking and, being out in the woods and the forests and in the hills, by the sea, in the sea, just the environment, full stop. So Iceland really seems to lend itself to that. And it was like being on Mars. That's what I kind of likened it to. Obviously, I've never been to Mars, but I've seen pictures of it and I've read about it. And Iceland, certainly where we stayed, which was in the south, it's really like Mars, really desolate. The topography I listened to quite a bit of Joy Division when I was out there, and Joy Division have got a song called Digital. Digital's either on or off, ones or zeros. Iceland's a bit like that with its landscapes. It's either off, flat, nothing, or on, bang, and it just, something rises out of nothing, a huge towering sea cliff. It was quite staggering, really. I saw, when we were travelling around, I would see parts of the country that remind me of the Scottish Highlands or Salisbury Plains or Dorset or Dartmoor, little echoes of that, but just on a grander scale. Because one of the things, I'm going to be careful of this patch here on my cheek. One of the things about Iceland is, one of the many things about Iceland, is the population is something like 350,000 people. It's a similar size to England. But England has a population of 65 million. Half of those 350,000 people in Iceland live in Reykjavik. Half of their population live in their capital. So really, it feels as though there's nobody there. Driving around on the ring road, we spent one day, we travelled for about an hour or so, thereabouts, for 60 kilometres, and on the ring road, and there was nobody in our lane, in front of us or behind us, for 60k. Now, if you're in North America, or Australia or something like that, that you'll be like, that's nothing. But compared to England, which is a busy little crowded island, that was really noticeable to us. The stories of Iceland being ludicrously expensive are accurate. An example being fish and chips. We had fish and chips for 4, all the same size, all the same portion size. Let me just rinse off. In Reykjavik, 4 fish and chips, 2 small lemonades, 2 pints of beer, best part of £80 sterling. Sarah seems to think that that's kind of all right, but I was pretty surprised by that. But, you go there expecting to pay a lot of money. I think on average it's 66% more expensive than the rest of Europe. So, you just save up and accept it's going to be bloody expensive. So Iceland was pretty epic. We stayed in 2 wonderful cabins, very different locations. One was in a tree farm down in the south, one was on the outskirts of Reykjavik. We didn't see the Northern Lights. Tiny bit sad about that, but a little bit too early in the season for that, which making my 3rd pass a little bit wet. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. It's brutal. Nothing gets an easy time there in terms of nature, buildings, anything. It is harsh and brutal. Where we stayed down in the south every day for the last 2 or 3 days we were there, they had dust storms. And it was like, and I think that's kind of why it reminds me of Mars a little bit, because when these dust storms came in, it would turn the atmosphere, it would turn the sky slightly sort of red or like a light ochre type colour, really dramatic. I'd only ever experienced that once or twice here in the UK, where dust storms have come up from North Africa and turned the sky pink, a little bit like that. But these happened every day. Right, 3rd pass. Feeling all right. A few little micro weepers, but my face is feeling as though I haven't had a 3-part shave with a pretty harsh single-edge razor for some time, but I've needed it. So against the grain. So yeah, good holidays. I got back from Iceland absolutely knackered. Bit of man flu, bit of a cold about me when I got back. But I think that's to do with, stopping. But anyway, I'm over that. Training's going well. I'm adding to my training, my movement practice, by introducing a kettlebell program called Simple and Sinister. Look it up. It's by some Russian dude called Pavel Satolin or something like that. I'm not too sure of his surname, but it's close. You'll find it on Amazon or if you search for it on the web. Really good, effective program. Train 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week. I kind of train every couple of days, then I'll have a rest day, I'll build some cardio just to kind of keep things fresh. But the Simple and Sinister is you do a warm-up, just a short, sharp warm-up. I'm done in 5 or 6 minutes. Very sort of yoga-centric stretches. And then you go into the kettlebell, 2 moves there are. So you start with, as a guy, 24 kilo kettlebell, so I think it's 53 pounds. And you do 10 sets of 10 swings. So you start down here low, and you swing up to sort of chest height, and then back down, and that's it. You do like a semi-squat, I suppose. The emphasis is on a quick movement up, so driving out through the hips, using the legs and the core. And then when I get to kind of here on the swing, I start to decelerate the swing, and I try to hold on to it on the way down. You're meant to quick up, slow down, is what the book says. It's brilliant. It's really effective. It doesn't blow you up, doesn't wreck you. You know, you've got something left in the tank afterwards, but it's a really good kind of all-round regime. And then the second move is the Turkish get-up. You do 10 in total, 5 on each side. And I started with an 8 kilo because I'm not overly familiar with that movement. So I wanted to, you know, really kind of nail my technique, which isn't perfect, but it's certainly getting there. So I started with an 8 kilo, and now I'm playing with the 24, and there's, as you might imagine, a world of difference. So that's really good. I'm really enjoying the Simple and Sinister program. And really, there's nothing, I mean, yes, that has a label, but it's just added to, just need a bit more lard here, added too much water to that one. There's no, with my training, there's no, I'm going to the gym every day and I do this, and I kind of think in straight lines. It's very fluid, my training. Kind of listen to what my body's, or how my body's feeling, you know, how I'm feeling. And I like to keep things fresh. There's an old saying by Josef Wojciech, who's an old mentor of mine, who says diversity breeds immunity, and I really like that saying. I think you can apply it to most things in life. You know, movement practice is no different. This is a bit sore down here. So yeah, training well, feeling good, feeling strong. Fairly well balanced, really. I think that's how I feel. Got an injury on my right wrist. I injured some tendons doing some overhand pull-ups with my 8-year-old. She was showing me how it's done, obviously, and I went to do one. I've done them, you know, over my lifetime, probably thousands of times. Something just clicked. I think it was a tendon, and it's not been quite right since. But I'll get over it. I've been icing it and, you know, looking after it. But I'm continuing to train. I think I think it's too easily done to wrap, you know, your joints or yourself in bandages or compression socks or whatever. I think you should. I'm trying to think of the chap's name. Ido Portal, a famous movement coach. He said, "Wrap your joints in movement." And I like that saying. And again, that's something that I've nicked and buy into. Anyway, right, so there we go, 3-pass shave, a few nicks and weepers, nothing too bad, nothing really massively gruesome. Pretty happy with that. Little sore patch here. Gonna have to have a think about that. I might have to start using some witch hazel, or I'm not sure. I'll speak to my missus about that. She might have some tips. Got any tips at all? You might have some tips. Little sort of bumpy bits here, dry patch, not entirely sure what it is. It's been there for months. I'm not diseased. I haven't got leprosy. So maybe it's just age. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to just clean up. So back in a second. That is, heaps better. So I'm going to use the lotion first, just let that kind of soak into my skin, and then I'm going to torch myself and splash on some of that Brut. Brut, you know, what an old school, just a lovely scent. Really, if you haven't seen our lotion, that's what it looks like. It's kind of aloe gel consistency. It's really soothing. No alcohol in this one. You don't need too much. Oh, it's lovely. Oh, and the smell. That's great. I'm really happy with this scent. It's, at least to my sense of smell, it's a really good approximation of Brut. I'm really chuffed at that. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, yeah, so in there, just to refresh my memory, we have aloe vera gel, we have witch hazel extract, meadow foam, seed oil, and a couple of other bits which I forgot, which is a bit embarrassing. But you'll be able to find the full ingredients list on our website. I'm just going to let that soak in. And then I'm going to go to the splash. So coming back to you, how are you fitting in your grooming regime? Oh my days! Wow. How are you fitting in things around your grooming regime? Do you religiously shave every morning, every evening before bed? Or are you like me, a bit of a loafer, shave every other day or so, and fit it in around the kids and so on? I'm very lucky. I don't have to share the bathroom with the children. I'm lucky. I've got an ensuite, which is what this is. So I have to share it with a wife who lives over there with all of her plethora of bits and pieces, and mine's very simple and basic. But mine kind of gets squeezed in around family life at the moment, which I suppose is quite common, really, isn't it? Other reasons why I haven't been around for so long. I'm just going to do this. In other news, as well as maintaining and working very hard on Phoenix and Bow, I've been learning how to make gin, which might sound a bit random. But I've been looking at it and really intrigued by it since about 2015, since about the time we set up Phoenix and Bow. And I've learned how to make gin. And it's just a project, really. There's nothing behind it with any sort of intent to be world leading or world domineering or anything like that. I just like making gin. I like a nice gin, and I wanted to make my own. And I'd like to sell some public. I'm allowed to do that now. I've had to go through HMRC and jump through all those various hoops, but we're licensed, good to go. And it's just a slow project where I might do a batch will contain 24 bottles, 50 centilitre bottles, and currently fitting everything around children work and so on. I'm probably looking at maybe a batch. I haven't even made a full batch yet, but maybe a batch a month, and we'll just see how it goes. We've got some interest locally. One festival here in North Hertfordshire and another really lovely favourite pub of ours. It's gone down a storm. The gin's gone down an absolute storm. So we use local botanicals, which is the right thing to do, I think. We use Hitchin lavender and Hitchin honey, as well as your staple kind of juniper. It has to have juniper in it, obviously, and various other locally sourced botanicals, and it is a lovely drop. So learning how to do that has been all-consuming, I suppose, but we've got there, and it's all good. But I'm gonna see, there's nothing there. There's no soreness there on that little bumpy patch on my skin. That is bizarre. Anyway, I'm going to stop being very vain. Looking ahead, we have some very exciting releases coming out. We have the right-handed giant, which is available at the moment on our shop, and will be with all of our, I think most of our stockists here in the UK and North America. So please feel free to treat yourself. If you enjoy the Brut scent, I don't think you'll be disappointed. Feedback so far has been very encouraging. Our autumn release is going to be called Night Witch. Night Witch is following on in the theme of being inspired by the old classic scents. Night Witch is homage to Old Spice, and it's good. It's a good one. So the artwork is, because it's our Halloween set, I suppose you could call it, the artwork for it is, well, it's not finalised yet, but what we have so far is pretty haunting, obviously witch-like, a little bit gothic, and some of the images are a little bit disturbing, I suppose, a bit scary. If you don't like witches, or if you have to hide behind the cushion if you're watching a horror film, some of the images are a little bit freaky. But we've yet to finalise, but it's going to be another great one. So that's something to look forward to. Christmas time, incredible Christmas. We've had Christmas, but it's not that far now, is it? Our Christmas offering is going to be called Achilles' Last Stand. Yes, that is a Led Zeppelin inspired soap. You may or may not know, but I'm a massive Led Zeppelin fan. So Achilles' Last Stand will be our Christmas offering. It's a gorgeous scent, which I'll share more with you closer to the time. And again, the artwork's going to be absolutely stellar. And then a couple of exclusive releases to two of our North American stockists and good pals over in the US. West Coast Shaving, we've done an exclusive scent for them called The Specialist, and the Razor Company, we've done an exclusive scent for them called Collider. Two very different accords, two very different art designs, which I'll pop up just now for you to have a look at. As I say, very different in design. I think they're awesome. I love both of them. Probably one of my favourite things about this job is the scent creation and working with Sarah to come up with just some really epic designs. I think that's our point of difference. There are a lot of good soap makers out there. We're told that we're one of them, and but I think it's our artwork that helps us stand apart from the masses, I suppose. So that's very humbling. But yeah, we've got a busy end to the year. Things are good. Things are exciting with both Phoenix and Bow and our little gin project. If you're interested in the gin, we're called Bow's Gin, as in Bow's Lion. And if you don't know your history, Bow's Lion was the family name for the Queen Mother, Lady Elizabeth Bow's Lion, who was born on her birth certificate, it says in Hitchin, which is where we live. We think she was actually born in Whitwell, which is a little village just south of where we live. So we wanted to kind of borrow from that kind of royal connection and use the first half of her surname, Bowes. Bow is also our firstborn's middle name, and we call her Bowes as one of her nicknames. So it's kind of a couple of connections there. But anyhow, more of that in due course. You might see that. But Bow's Gin, have a look if you like a drop. That's everything I have for now. So as always, thank you very much for joining me, and shave right, feel brilliant.